their issues, it has come off pretty good. Now, like I spoke about earlier, this is just going to sit there until that all melts. There's still some odds and ends. I did add that flapper or that door close, I don't know what you call it. It's screen door tent. That used to be a wide open path that I will have to come in with a chainsaw and at least get a walking path. Welcome to Time by the Tent. First weekend here up at the land for the year. Kind of assessing how things look. If you're unfamiliar, this is a 2 Ozark Trail wall tents, 10 by 12 and a 10 by 20. And then I've engineered this cable with this 40 by 40 foot tent from tarps.com to protect it over the winter, so we didn't have to dismantle it and store it away. Got quite a bit of snow there. 10-12 days ago there was a historic ice storm with about 3/4 to 1.5 inches of ice here in the Northwoods of Wisconsin and up through the UP. So I'm just assessing what we've got. We're very blessed that we didn't get any damage. You can see that trees are down there, our limbs are down, and then we got one here. That's the ATV trail, the state ATV trail, which we figured that was going to be pretty ice covered. And then across there is 35 acres of our property. So trees are down, but trees go down all the time. So that's what it is. So I have not been in the tent. I was up here in mid-January to replace the battery on the Tacticam security camera and then put a lithium battery in. And that was the last time I was in the tent. So we shall go in the tent and see what it looks like. Externally, everything looks good. So we will figure all of that out. All right. Let's see what we've got in here. Everything appears to be in good shape from when I left it at the end of muzzleloader camp. Cords all look good. No damage to the tent. Really good signs. It's really dark because that tarp is over top of the tent. Alright. So I took, well, whenever we put, before I left after muzzleloader camp, I took and did all these support beams with just logs and down the center. This one here has fell to the side. All of these between each rafter in order to support any additional weight that may come down if the tarp failed outside. And it doesn't appear, seems to be a lot of weight over on that side. But other than that, we had the mattress in a mattress bag. I don't see anything really out of place. There is some water there. So that could have, oh, that's from that water jug. I believe that has busted. Possibly. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Something. So we will take all of this stuff down and then figure out how to get the tarp off of the top so we can get more light in here. Pick of the day, pick of the weekend, about 58 to 60 degrees both days. We will get the fire going once we get the tarp off. Very happy with the way it looks, and we did not have to disassemble anything and take it down, because remember last year we came up early March with the small tent, put it up on a very cold day, and then early April we had that massive snowstorm that our neighbor had to come over and knock the snow down. Yeah. And it really tore some down. It pulled the tent up and then snow came in. It was a whole big mess. The floor was flooded. But it looks good. I don't see any sign of rodents in here whatsoever.
Did you check the
ottoman? I've not checked the ottoman, but it's all sealed off and I've had stuff weighted down on it, so nothing to get in it. Alright, so let us readjust here and start pulling some things out, and then we got to get the car unloaded and begin. Now, you'll never need or ever try to probably attempt to do anything like this. Leave a tent up like this year-round, but you can see I think it's a 5/8 cable, something like that, 73 feet long, and it's done exactly what we intended and engineered it to do. So very happy with it. Tarp did exactly what it was supposed to do. I do see a tear. Is that a tear? Yep, that's a tear right there. Something poked through it, but that's minor. That's the only thing that I see bad about it. There's one spot there where a limb has punctured through the tarp, and I don't see anything over here showing any puncture. So got the fire going, cleaning up some of the limbs that's went down. And well, by next week, with temperatures in the 40s to 50s, that should all will be thawed out. What is it right now? About 55-ish. So, all right, let's we'll get this tarp pulled across. The way we're going to do it is, because that side is so loaded with snow and frozen the ground, this side is the side that has the most sun. I'm going to pull all the pegs and stakes, and then we're just going to pull it over and just lay it down, put something all heavy on top of it for a couple of weeks until all that melts, and then we'll fold it up just so we can get in the tent and get some light and do a complete assessment. But good to be back up here and not be. The last time I spent the night up here, it was muzzleloader camping. It was 5 degrees for a low and a high of 9 degrees.
Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to everybody.
Okay.
And then I was up here in January, and it was about 25-30 degrees when I had to replace that lithium, or I put a lithium battery in that trail camera courtesy of Tacticam. in addition to the solar panel, which is fully charged, so indefinite power there, so that's good. Okay, so I've got the tarp off. That's what it looks like, the two tents together. The piece that poked through, I had a long piece up here with a cup on it, and it just snapped off and went through the tarp. Minor deal. This was another piece to support the tent to get it, or the tarp to get it off the tent. This is our Ozark Trail dome tent. A little issue here. We can fix that, work on that. Other than just a few minor here and there issues, it has come off pretty good. Now, like I spoke about earlier, this is just going to sit there until that all melts. It is pushed in a little bit this way, but when that ground thaws, I'll be able to pull the post up and push it back that way. The other issue that I have found is right there, where that grommet is, or the hook is. That's the only one that's damaged, and like over there I don't have anything, and then I've got two back here, and we're not in a wind tunnel, so it's a minor deal. I gotta get the chimney cleaned, and with that put up and started, I do see one grommet here, so there's clearly somewhere on this tent one of these grommets is missing, but there's a grommet every foot, I believe is what it is. So, all right, looks good compared to having to take it all down, put it in a big bag, and then fight a whole afternoon to put it all back up. So very pleased with it. Again, that tarp was from tarps.com. They did donate that to us last year. All right, so I am going to work on, that's our storage tent. The reason why that dome tent, it goes right there, so I'm going to work on that next after I get the chimney clean. Got our flag up, looks good. Gotta stoke the fire up. Here's what it looks like in the tent. You saw earlier, now that we've got the tarp off, I've still got to sweep the floor and pick up bits and pieces, but so I got the fire going. I put that second stovepipe on the stove. That one there. The bottom one was original. We had bought 4 pieces, 2 silver for outside of the tent, and 2 of the black ones, which is less toxic for the inside. Because we had initially was planning on a different tent that would have required that many stovepipes. So we went with the Ozark Trail tent. So that stovepipe's been sitting inside for a year, 2 years. And I thought, you know, let's just put it on there to see if I can get the stovepipe up higher to maybe get a better vent, even though it was at least 6 inches above the ridge. So we'll see if that helps, and it's a lot better than just laying in the tent and not being operable. What are we having for supper?
Food.
Good.
Look at all my electronics. We're having Greek marinated chicken and mushrooms and green beans and potatoes.
All right. Need to wrap up or fold up this mattress bag and get that in the storage tent. So I'm going to head down to the car and finally bring up everything out of the car. Tomorrow's big project day. At least the intent is. I'm going to put an antenna up. Going to find a tree and make it into a pole and put an antenna up for the TV instead of having the rabbit ears, courtesy of Channel Master. And then to put a door on this tent, because this zipper is just about gone on this front tent. So I got to find two logs in order to act as corner posts, and then I've got to trim them down and then frame it in, do all of that. So calling for a possible rain here in the next hour where we're located, but got to still try to make as much, get as much done as possible. Okay, all right, so show everything. Everything's up out of the car now.
That's the door.
That is going to be the door for the tent. I'm going to frame it in, and then the whole thing. I've got to work on the door because, as you see, the door is in two pieces. This is a door we had in our basement, and it's in two pieces because the total overall height was 79.5 inches. Our SUV, or our CVS, what is it called?
CRV.
CRV, compact SUV, the maximum it would hold would be a 59-inch door. So, or what is it, 69-inch door. I was a foot short. So I know I'm going to have to trim some of this door off to begin with in order to fit in the way I need to do it. So we cut it in half. I'm going to reaffix it together with liquid nails and a 1x4 and screws, and it'll be just like brand new. So I'm not concerned with that. This is not a 10 to 15 year door. This is probably a 3 to 5 year door at max.
Hopefully get a cabin.
Till we hopefully get a cabin. Then I've got a refrigerator or an electric cooler. We've had this at the house for a couple of years. We're bringing this up as a permanent thing so we can keep and bring more items up. And then this cabinet in here, found on Tuesday morning on Marketplace, 10 minutes from the house.
It's nice.
This one here, found along the side of the road a year and a half ago. Same thing with this one here. This one was a piece of like an office desk. It's got a drawer there, so it works good. This one works really well as well. I'm not sure. I think we're going to put that one. What are we going to put that one in the corner up there and get rid of that white shelf? Is that kind of what we think would be best?
Yeah.
So that is, and then our normal stuff we bring up, our power stations and camera gear, chainsaw, etc. Gotta get, well, the fire's kind of going. Stove is still going. I gotta get that tub off that post just to make it look better. All right, so unload the wagon and get that door put together, and then I'm gonna head up to that side. I'm gonna go about a quarter mile up that way and kind of see how things look overlooking that bog in a little bit. What are you up to? Learning your ABCs?
I'm just chilling. I prepped our marinated chicken for dinner, so at some point all I have to do is chop potatoes and then we can cook. I don't know what time we're gonna do that, but we'll figure it out.
Now, and here is the bracing. I've done this type of bracing in multiple portions of the tent in order to support the framework and around the door here on a permanent basis. And then, as you saw earlier, with those posts to take more pressure off the frame. And that tarp did exactly what we intended it for it to do. And again, I would have thought we would have had some kind of rodents in here, or some kind of remnants of rodents. I haven't seen anything.
No.
I mean, I would think this would be the place of refuge.
Okay.
So. using our picnic table here. That's the way it's going to look. I'll just trim that board off tomorrow and cut it down to the size I need and try to get it installed. If not tomorrow, then next week. But I've still got to add the liquid nails and then screw with 1 5/8. It works just fine. That is, and I don't know if I'm going to use this mechanism or not. I do have an old a snap latch if needed. Okay, so here's the final. I added a, this is temporary again. If this was a house or an actual cabin, this would not even be an option in order to cut a door or any of that. But I split the difference there and then put liquid nail underneath there and then added the 2 bracing at the top, and it is, I would say, 98% like a brand new, like an uncut door. So that's where it's going to set to cure. And I've got 1 5/8 nail or screws, so they have protruded out slightly. So I'm just going to take tomorrow and then just tap them with a hammer and just flatten the screw heads, because you said you weren't going to rub up against the door like a like bear, yeah, scratching. So oh, you haven't done very good maintaining the fire, have you?
I was supposed to. I wasn't paying
If you're sitting by the fire, the rule is you maintain the fire.
Oh, okay.
That's the rule. You didn't know that, did you? Turned out to be a really nice day.
It was a nice day. Okay, so Joey's cooking the chicken.
Not going to wait for the coals to die down. We did the potatoes with what do you call it?
Cast iron.
Fried the potatoes real hot, hotter than you can do in your house. And then we still have green beans and mushrooms. Are those together or are those separate? Those
Together.
are together.
Yeah.
So I can get those going too. If you turn around, you can see how nice it is with the sun going down. Now you were talking about last year when we came up for our first time.
Yeah. I was saying, what was I saying?
We explained that we came up.
Oh, so we came up in March, mid-March.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah, and then we came up again. It was like the 20th.
5 weeks later, 4 or 5
4
weeks.
weeks. Yeah. And so we're like a week ahead of when we came up last year.
And the 2-week forecast, the 14-day forecast now shows highs in the mid 50s, lows in the sometimes low or high 20s to high 30s.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe all the snow, really persistent chance of snow and ice and all that's passed. That's the way it was last year in April. We had that one shot 1st of April and then it was done.
Yeah.
So
I think we're good.
but it's probably about 55 degrees right now.
No, it's like 50.
50?
Yeah.
It's warmer here than it is back where we live in southeast Wisconsin.
Yeah. Okay, so there's the potatoes, chicken, green beans, and mushrooms. All delicious over the fire.
Condiments not included yet.
No.
All right, so we're about ready to go in for the night. I've added onto our security tripwire from Fifth Ops. We had this opening here, and then I got eye hooks or eye screws or whatever you want to call those. I used to have them on nails, and you'll be able to see right there is the nail in which I used to have it on, and it would keep sliding off and it wasn't reliable. So here's the very fine wire, and it goes around here, and then I put a firing cap on the bottom, and it's a 22 caliber. No, it's a 22 primer. I don't think that's right, but a primer cap that I use for muzzleloader percussion cap. It's a standard security measure here. I just screw it on there, and then at night if something trips the wire, it will fire off just like gunshot. And I've had it go off one time, and it was a red squirrel that had caught. I was climbing this tree and caught because I looked out the tent window and I saw it go around that tree there. So we're in bear country, black bear. We have sidearms, but it's nice to have a security warning system. We've never, outside of that squirrel, we've never had an issue with it. We only use it when we are in on the property. So that is how that works. So we purchased a wood stove fan, paid $25 for it. I couldn't see paying $150 for a wood stove fan. I couldn't make myself pay for that. I don't know if it's doing any good. Do you know if it's doing any good? Can you tell? Can't tell. It is pushing air out. I'm a foot and a half away and I can feel air. It's not supposed to be like a shop fan that just blows the smithereens out of the area. It's just supposed to circulate the air. Okay, I can feel it from 2 foot away, and we are at 200 degrees, so it will certainly help for $25. It's now whether it lasts 6 months or 6 years or it blows up tonight, I don't know. So that is where we're at. We're gonna relax and we will see you in the morning. How was the first night sleeping up here for your?
It was okay. I got up a few times, but that's okay. It happens sometimes.
The sleeping bags were nice. I mean,
sleeping bags are
which
nice.
We knew that. So, got a fire going here. Going to get breakfast. We recently purchased one of these electric handheld chainsaws because what was it, about $70? Is that what it was?
I think so.
And it works with the battery pack that I have with the same brand on a drill, simply because whenever I'm cleaning brush, cleaning trails, or trimming limbs on a tree stand, it's not safe to be dangling up there with a 14-inch chainsaw and this is like 3-4 pounds. You do have to oil it, and this is a barbecue squirt bottle, and you wanted me to get rid of them, and I held on to them.
Well, you had quite a collection.
Yeah. So you just squirt a little bit on the chain here, and then you run it just to lubricate it up, and you apply it as needed. So I'm just going to use to cut some of these bigger pieces up. Really going to be a lot handier around here than having to use a chainsaw or the handsaw in a pinch. Well, like right now.
Demonstration.
Even you'd be comfortable using that. All right, we're going to get breakfast going, And I think we've changed our mind about the door on the tent. If it works out the way we think it's going to work out, we'll let you know why we're not going to use that door. So.
Okay, so we're having hash browns, bacon, and eggs. Little, somewhat traditional.
Now those
breakfast.
are egg whites. Those are just...
yeah, liquid egg whites. And don't come for me. My body doesn't tolerate yolks well, so it's easier this way. So yeah, there's the breakfast, and then that's what we're gonna do.
Okay, so we talked about yesterday the door, and we put it together. And this morning earlier, I talked about if things went well, we wouldn't need the door, and the things didn't go well. The things I was thinking about was last night, 11 o'clock, I kept thinking if I pushed this up enough, it'd take enough stress off that zipper that it would connect and we wouldn't have to put a door on. But the more I did it and the more trial I did it, that zipper just would not catch. The zipper just wore out. So the door, I went down to our lumber yard where we got a bunch of dead pine and then cut 2 trees here. And I didn't square them off. I thought I'd have to square two edges off, but I'm trying to do this as simplistic as possible because, again, like we talked about, this is a 2, maybe 3-year plan. This is, if this was a real cabin, this would be done as professional as possible. So right now I've got my framework in. I've got my latch on. Now this will not be the permanent latch. I am going to affix one of these at the top on that 2x4 that help catches screen door catch latch. It'll work for that size door. And then the next step is to take and make a cut here till I get to my log, and then fold it over and nail it down to secure that. That's going to be the next step. And then this will be, I don't have to fight with the door, I don't have to fight with the zipper. At night we can just close it and it's done. If I'm going to go hunting, last year during muzzleloader camp and second deer camp, I spent 15 minutes several times trying to get this to close so it wasn't flapping in the wind. And there is a lot of gaps around here, but also when it's 5 degrees outside, it's 5 degrees inside. And that secondary tent, we have a blanket that we put up to conceal all the heat into that back side. So it doesn't matter what the ambient temperature is inside this front tent, because there's no stove. It is that temperature inside. So this is strictly for preventing animals and critters from getting in. There's still some gaps where we always have mice because it's a tent. So that's where we're at, and it's going to look pretty nice when we all get done. Now, I didn't film the process of this because this is a customizable deal. If you do it on your tent, it's going to be very different than this. So I'll show you whenever I get this all completed here, and then we will have lunch. All right, so as of right now, it's complete. There's still some odds and ends. I did add that flapper, or that door close, I don't know what you call it. It's screen door catch clip. But it works really well. If I can get everything, all the debris out of the way. And we know that it will close and we don't have to fight with a zipper. So for our door that was in the basement that I had to cut in half to get up here, that we resealed and screwed together, some logs, some scrap 2x4s I found in the dumpster, and from some free screws, our tent will last a few more years now. And what do you think of it? What do you think of it?
I think it's awesome. Especially, the only thing I don't like is that we don't really have a screen anymore, but that's okay. It is what it is. And then I think at some point you said you're going to put a hole.
A little peephole, just a 1 7/8 inch hole, like right here, so you can look out. There'll be a piece of plexiglass that will be screwed here, just so you can look out. I think probably you can look out through the cracks that currently are in the door right now.
Yeah.
Without, I'm thinking, and I don't know that it matters because we have a vent right here, but I put some spray foam possibly around it. I don't know if that'll do any good or not. With a hole being at the top, when it's cold outside, it's cold in there. It's not like it's going to make a difference.
No, I think that
Save the $7.99 and use it.
You can just put, like when it's cold, we'll just put that blanket up.
And that's on that second door. Yeah. What we're talking about, if you're not aware, in here, this opening here, we drape a big blanket on the other side. We clip it up here, and then that's all covered. And then this is the living quarters when it's super cold, like during deer camp, muzzleloader camp, that type of thing. So a couple of hours and some free material, and we know the door, we know the tent will stay closed now. Yeah. So all right, I got to get the stove, I got to get the fire stoked so we can have lunch. As most projects, as you're aware, if you are a camper, things you want to get done. Not going to get the antenna put up today from Channel Master. That'll be in the next video, parts of it, and then the actual review of that will be a separate video in its entirety. After I eat, I'm going to go in the woods, make a loop around, see if I can find any antlers, and look for a tree that I can use for a pole for that antenna.
Okay, so we got burgers with pretzel buns and chips.
What kind of chips are those?
These are loaded bacon and cheddar flavored. They got them from Aldi. And actually, Aldi had pretzel buns, which I don't know if I've ever seen those there before, so it's exciting times.
All right, I'm going to head out, make a loop around the property, see if I can see any antlers. I've seen a lot of people in groups, outdoor groups, finding them, so maybe I'll find some on our property. And I will see you when I get across the trail here. Well, there is the tree stand, one of them. It was just an absolute job to get back here just to see. We had that major ice storm 2 weeks ago, and what would have normally took about 40 seconds to get back there is now taking 15 minutes to walk around everything that has come down. And I'll walk through here. I'll show you when I come back on the other side. It'll take some time. Yeah, there was a path here, and I still want there to be a path here. Okay. Well, my path was, yeah, right through there. You can see my markers. So there you go. You can see here, which this is all jack pine in here. There's that. There's that. And I guess somewhere up there is where those pieces came from. Right in here. Oh, there's my deer blind right there. Yeah. Right in this area is where I harvested those 2 deer out of that deer blind, within 10 yards of each other, right back in that area. Now you look up through there, here's a deer blind. That fell from up there, and that used to be a wide open path that I will have to come in with a chainsaw and at least get a walking path of 5 or 6 feet wide so I can walk through without catching anything and maybe funnel some more animals through here. And there is my other deer stand among the carnage of downed trees. So that's 2 that I'm happy to see. There's number 3. There's 2 more. It's about 250 yards in the woods. So that one's okay. Well, that's all I'm going to dig through the woods. It'll be interesting if I hear turkeys next week for turkey season, and how to set up on them with so much debris on the ground. That was a logging road that I showed you earlier that was covered, and usually it's 10 foot wide. So a lot of deer signs out there, no antlers, a lot of deer sign. So they are navigating through the new remodeled woods. But in order to make deer hunting accessible for me over the summer here, just that one area is going to take probably 3 or 4 hours to simply just cut a path. Now in turn, that will help funnel the deer. They go in the path of least resistance. So that will certainly benefit in the long run. It's just all the work up front to recreate a path that was already there. Well, thank you so much for spending another weekend, or our first weekend here up at the land in the new year. Got the door fixed, didn't get the antenna up. That's next week. Next week's turkey camp. Saw how devastating some of the areas of the woods are. So that, can be positive, can be negative. We'll take it for what it's worth. Very happy that the tent survived over the winter with the tarp. So until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll see you then.